As the voice of the Mighty Ducks in Anaheim, Chris Madsen thought he had it all. Great job, beautiful wife, perfect life.
Yep. Josh Souder, on the other hand, was born with a life-threatening illness, fought for survival each and every day. They became very good friends and in the process made miracles.
In this chapter of Bookmark, I got the chance to talk to Chris about the remarkable friendship that led to his inspirational book. The Sports Announcer and the Young Man with a Disability. Chris Madsen and Josh Souder, a friendship that began simply enough.
When I met Joshua at our very first season, the very first season of Fanfare that the Mighty Ducks hosted, I was immediately enamored with him. You know, he was sitting along the dasher board all by himself and positioned in his wheelchair. And his mother came over and she said, you know, Chris, would you do me a favor? My son's a big fan of yours, and he really aspires to be a broadcaster. He really would like to meet you. And I went over and I knelt down next to Joshua, and just looking into his eyes, I was immediately enamored with him. There was an essence and a spirituality about him that I was immediately struck by. And over the next year, we forged an incredible relationship. He was my guest at several Mighty Ducks games.
Joshua's medical issues kept his world anything but simple. And one night, Chris received a call from Josh's mother. Josh had slipped into a coma after brain surgery, and things looked desperate.
She said, you know, Chris, even though Josh was not responding to us, I really believe he could hear what's going on in the room. So I was wondering, if I placed the phone next to his ear, you know, would you be willing? You know, would you be willing to say a few words to him? And so with Joshua aspiring to be a broadcaster, I thought, well, the natural thing is I'm going to talk to him like a broadcaster. I said, hey, Joshua, tonight the Mighty Ducks are going to close out the season against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I went in this big overview of what was coming up that particular night with the game, and was met with no response on numerous occasions. And then, quite honestly, Maria, I said a little prayer. I said, you know, dear God, would you please help me reach this child? And instantaneously, the one thing that Joshua would always respond to came to me. So I got back on the line. And I said, you know what, Joshua, if I was in that room with you right now, I'd lean way over that bed and I'd whisper in your ear, Joshua shoots, he scores, Ducks win. And I could hear the rustling of the bedclothes. I could hear his mother gasp, oh my God. And what was happening was that Joshua was coming out, and he reached over with his one operable hand, which is his left arm and hand, picked up the phone, pulled it to his ear and said, hello, Chris, how are you?
A moment everyone considers a true miracle. But miracles take many shapes, and it wasn't long until Josh performed one for Chris. Chris Madsen lost his beloved job with the Mighty Ducks just about the same time his father passed away. In a deep depression, Chris received a gift from Josh.
He had written me the most beautiful letter, Maria, that, you know, ranked his all-time 5 favorite play-by-play announcers. And there I was, #1. No affiliation next to my name, but there I was, #1. And everybody else was, you know, Steve Fiziak, Anaheim Angels, Paul Sunderland, Los Angeles Kings. And then in the letter he said, you know what, Chris, when you first met me, a lot of people couldn't see beyond the disability, but you could. And because you did, because you believed in me, I began to believe in myself. And I began to accomplish things that I otherwise would have never had the confidence to do so. And he went on to say in the letter, he said, you know, you are my role model and you are my mentor. No one had ever said that to me before, Maria. And, you know, growing up in Chicago, I held my broadcasting idols as role models and mentor. But Joshua had a message beyond that for me. He said, you know, on June the 12th, 2003, when I graduate from Santiago High School, I want to lift myself out of my chair, and I want to walk across the stage and be handed my diploma like all the other kids. And he said, there's nobody that I would rather have on that stage next to me than you.
Of course, I cried through the entire interview.
Oh, it's powerful.
It is.